Lesley Langdon with UnityTV, and today we'll be doing some stamping, some embossing, some die cutting, all with the Samantha Walker stamps called Blossom Stackers. Lots of stamps in this set. The other side shows you options how you can layer the stamps and use them together. And special part, this sign down here, it says compatibles, and that's Spellbinders. That means that there's dies out there that match these stamps. So if you happen to own both stamps and die templates, there are lots of possibilities. It makes your die cutting of the shapes and the blossoms so easy. So instead of hand cutting around each blossom, you can just run it through the die cut machine. So I'm going to be going through some die cutting with you, some embossing and painting today to make a card. And yeah, stay with me. Let's begin. I wanted to show you the die templates that go along with this set, and those are by Spellbinders. So everyone's working together to bring you these awesome stamping die cutting system. Okay, so you can see there's every die that comes in the set coordinates with some or most of the stamps that are in the Unity set. Alright, so I've just pulled out some crepe paper. It's from their portrait collection, and I wanted to stamp the stamps directly onto the pattern paper and then die cut them, and you'll see what a great effect that has. Okay, so I'm going to be using Staz-on ink because I'm going to be wanting to quickly apply my inks and some paint, and using something that's not water-based like this solvent ink will help ensure that it doesn't run when I go to rub it or paint on it. Okay, so this one here is the biggest stamp in the kit, and I'm going to stamp it there. I'm also going to use it as a journal block. So what I want to do is stamp these lined, the journal stamp. I'm going to stamp it right in the middle. Okay, I'm going to do all my stamping before I go ahead and die cut it. Okay, so line it up. Okay, and then there's also smaller lines for the other stamp sizes as well. Okay, and now I'm going to stamp some numbers. This is just number 1 to 10. Okay, and I'm going to try and line them up here. Okay, and then another little stamp that says Today We. Okay, I'm going to Stackers and apply my Staz-on. Okay. And in the center of this one, I just adore this lined stamp here. So these are all going to be like little journal spots for our scrapbooking, or these would look good on a card as well. Okay, so ink up your stamp there. And just try and line up the bumps on this one. Okay, because they're meant to just stamp right inside, one inside the other. Okay? Alright, so again, take your die that is meant for the image and line it up. Okay. Hold it in place, tape it so that it's nice and secure. Okay. So maybe I'll just stamp one more. This one's going to be the smaller one, and I'll stamp it on the light color again. This is a beautiful stamp here. So again, line up your die and use there's the cut side on the one. So you're putting the cut side down onto the image. Line it up the best you can. Okay, you can see the holes coming through. Those holes will be cut out. So it's pretty foolproof. Okay, now you take your die cut machine. I'm going to use the Spellbinders Grand Caliber. Here, we'll zoom out there. Okay, and you just put it in place. Use the grip here. Okay, then you have 4 plates, but to cut, you start with your base plate, which is gray, and then you put the images down. So so that your cut side is up. Okay, so place the 3, there you go. Okay, now I'm going to put the cutting plate on top and then run it through the machine. Okay, and hold on to your handle. This is a nice smooth machine. Okay, that'll just kind of lay like that when it's done. Just pick it up. You leave the papers as are. You can see that it's cut. Now we're going to do some embossing. So you take your embossing pad, which is this, place it over top. Okay, make sure they're all in there. And then run it through the machine again with your embossing plate cover, which is pink. Okay, this just, this does is it pushes the paper into the holes of the die template. So some parts are raised while the others are not. Okay, so we're done with the die cut machine. Let's put that aside. All right, so here we have our die cut images. Let's see what these turned out to look like. Let's focus in again. Okay, there's that one. Okay, here's this one. And the last, there's that one. That's really pretty. Okay, so these can be layered, like one on top of the other. See? Or you can use them separately. So I've kind of cut them to use them separately, but there's many, many options for you. Like I can stamp in there, maybe a different color. Maybe I'll use this distressing. It's called Victorian velvet. I'm going to stamp this doily sort of image. I'm going to stamp it in the center there. Okay. So now what I wanted to do was just finish these off a little bit for you. And I'm going to be using Green with Envy Shimmerz paints. Okay, just a little bit. I'm going to be using on this one here. And because we use Staz-on ink, this water-based paint is not going to blend with it. It's not going to run into each other. It's just going to be fine. So I'm just going to go a little bit around the edges, and then I'm going to smudge it with my finger. Just to give this circle some color and some distressing. Okay, and then just rub it in. So this is essentially is like a watercolor paint. Okay. All right, so that's a nice, just a way to add color and some distressing. If you want, you can do the edge, but I might go with Shabby Shutter's Distressing. Lighten that up a little bit. Okay, so I'll probably want to work with a scrap piece of paper underneath when you go to do your inking. All right, so I have two colors here, Shabby Shutters and Victorian Velvet. Why don't I put them? Okay. So I'm going to take the Shabby Shutters and go around the edges, but not all the edges. Then I'm going to take the other color, which is the Victorian Velvet, and I'm going to do the rest because I want some pink to be included on this. Okay. All right. So there, that is ready for, a layout or a card, or probably most likely a layout because of what I stamped in the middle. But imagine if you didn't have that stamped in the middle, you could, die cut a circle and have an image in there. It'd be really, really cute. Okay, so put that aside. And then this one here, maybe I'll stamp a sentiment inside. See if that will fit. Thank you. Okay, so I'll stamp the thank you right there in the middle. Try and line it up. Okay. All right, so I can use that on a card. I'm not sure if there's any way you can dress that up. You might want to try adding some green distress ink, or if you have other distress inks that you think might match. This just gives a little variation, just dresses it up a little bit. Okay, there's that. So that's ready for a card. I'll just show you what that looks like on top of the other one as well, just in case you're curious as to what, you know, it would look like if you stacked these two. So it looks pretty cute. Okay, and then the last one is this one here, and I think I'll do that mostly pink. I'm going to really layer on the Distress ink. The more you put on, the more layers, it'll just layer on top of each other, so the ink will get darker in certain places. Okay, so there's that one. All right, and that's ready to add as an embellishment to a layout, or let's see what that would look like stacked with that. Okay. Okay, and before I leave you, I just wanted to show you a neat little trick. Instead of die cutting your paper, this is a card. So I'm going to make a card for you, and you'll see the pictures at the end. So this is just white cardstock from Basil. Anyway, so the front of the card you want to put down over top of the dies that are the cut side up. But we're not going to cut these, we're just going to do some embossing. So just lay it down there where you might want those embossed images to be on your cover of the card, and put your embossing mat down. Okay, and then you have your embossing plate, and then run it through your die cut machine. Okay, so I'm going to bring over the grand caliber again. Okay, so just by using the embossing mat and your embossing plate, you can emboss any of your card fronts only, and it looks so great. All right, so here we go. You see the embossing? Okay, very cute. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to dress up this card, okay, with the stamped work that we did earlier. All right, and then maybe a couple leaves. And you'll see the picture after. This looks so cute. I want you to be able to see that embossing. Okay? All right, thanks for watching. See you later.